Welcome back to another video on the channel, back on Gran Turismo, and something a little bit different and something that I want to do more in the future is a bit of league racing. Now I'm not part of this league, I just jumped in as a substitute, but it is Group 3 for the International Sim Racing League around Suzuka. So a couple of fast boys in here. This is what I did on my qualifying lap. Coming through that last chicane, really difficult, getting the power down nice and easy as we swing around as close to the pit wall as possible, and a 1:59.542 was good enough for third at the time, but we ended up in 5th place. As we can see the list of drivers here: Dawson, Hulby, I don't really know how to say that properly, Raiden and Racer Tay in front of me, and also Melland behind me as well. So starting on the grid, false start as well on, traction control onto 1, raise the revs, and we are away. Look on our right here, Melon, I'm just going to call him Melon, on the right, the Austrian, getting a fantastic start, putting him up to 5th and me down to 6th. Now this is the first race that I've been a part of, so I just wanted to be very, very cautious the first couple of laps, not make any mistakes, not make any incidents with other players, trying to keep my name pretty clean as we follow the train through the first couple of corners here. This first section, very, very technical, and it's pretty easy to get it wrong. If you get on the accelerator too hard, especially this corner here, it's very easy to get sucked out into that gravel on the right, and that is a ton of time that you can lose. Again, this corner, a very, very brave corner. Can we cut it as Raiden seems to be all up in smoke in the gravel over on the left there? He has obviously made a mistake, and he is going to have to charge from the back to try and get anything from this race. Down to first gear, really close to old Melon in front of us. I know that's not his name, but I'm going to keep calling him Melon. And we are away down this very long sweeping right-hander, which is just absolutely flat out. Heavily in the slipstream of the Austrian in front. I'm not going to go for a move here, we're too far back, so I'm just going to settle in, hopefully get that slipstream up the hill on the back straight here. We already see that Dawson is pulling away. He is an extremely fast player, but the train in front of us of Hulby, Racete and Melon seems to be on our pace. So we just need to be consistent, hit those apexes and try not to ram in the back of them. 130R, the corner we just went past, it's a very easy corner to get wrong. If you go too hot into it, you run the risk of going wide, and there is some slippy stuff out there, so you can again lose a ton of time. Suzuka, one of the most challenging courses on the game in my opinion. Now heavily in the suck again of the Austrian in front of us. I'm not going to go for a move, just going to back off a little bit, give him that racing line. One of the things about this race is that we are working in teams, so all the Lexus are working together, all the Corvettes are working together, etc, etc. So I don't really want to throw myself around him in front of me, because we're going to lose each other time, when actually we kind of want to be working together to try and get up to CSX Racer Tay in front of us, to try and get in front of him. So I'm not going to try and overtake him. Maybe on the straights I'll try and bump draft him just so we can get closer to the cars in front as we come through here. Little lift, little blip into third there just to get the car turned in. And this corner, the earlier you can get on the power, the better. I always found that short shifting into third really, really helped there. As we come into the hairpin, down to first gear, can we get in the slipstream? How early can we get on the power? Probably a little short shift to second. Yes, there is, and we're heavily in the slipstream again. Coming up to Spoon Curve, the long double apexed corner ahead of us here. The first part of it, I always sort of got pretty consistent, braking at the same point, down to third, accelerate out to the right-hander there. But this part here, the second apex, you have to be very, very patient about getting on the accelerator. Otherwise, you run the risk of running onto that AstroTurf on the right, which is very, very slippery. But this time, we managed to get through it unscathed, and we're coming into 130R again. Nice cut on the corner. See, we're just closing that space. to Melon in front of us. Heavy on the brakes, down to first gear. A nice healthy cut on the first bit. A nice healthy cut on the second part of the chicane. And now power down. It does get very slippery as you come out onto the start-finish straight there. So you do have to be smooth with your inputs to make sure you don't spin around and face the other way. This is what I was talking about. I could have just bump drafted him into T1 there, but no, he had other ideas. He thought I was going to go for a move, didn't want to go around the outside, so just give him that position back. Probably could have gone past him. I may have had the overall pace on him, which I think I did in the second race, but regardless, he sits in 4th, I sit in 5th, and CSX Racer Tay is now looking to make the move past Hubie in front of us for 2nd place. So this event is made up of 2 races. The first race, this race, is a sprint race, which you can see by the 6 laps in the top left-hand corner. And then there is a feature race afterwards. Oh, as Melon goes a little bit wide there, and we come into the second one a little bit slidey, and we nearly lose it there. Tail gets a little bit happy, especially when you hit that green Astro on the outside there. Very, very easy to spin around. So, as I was saying before, this is the sprint race. It is 6 laps. The grid was set by a 10-minute qualifying session before this. We are all on the medium tyre. There is no fuel depletion and there is no tyre wear either. So it's a straight up sprint, which I love because you're just driving as fast as you can for as long as you can. We're not worrying about fuel. We're not worrying about tyre wear. That comes in the feature race. This is all about all-out pace. How fast can you go? Are you faster than the other drivers on the track? And coming into 130R, Racer Tay has got up the inside of Hubie and has forced an error. He fills in back into 4th place. Not going to put too much pressure on him as we get a nice run out of here. We could go around the outside and probably could push a little bit, but there's no point. He is in another Lexus. We want to help each other. I'm in the slipstream, going to give him a little bump there. He recognises it, flashes lights there. You can see them just flashing, saying thank you. We got to work together to try and get back up to Racer Tay. So it is now a race to try and catch up with Racer Tay. ERT in front of us has the best pace. He was the quickest over the qualifying period, so hopefully he can catch up and put some pressure on Racer Tay. Maybe Melon will let him pass, I don't know. But it's very easy to let your guard down after you have watched an incident like that. So right now, all we need to do is settle into our own drive and see if we can stay in the slipstream of the ERT driver in front of us so he can pull us along and pull us back to maybe that battle. So touching on the details for the feature race, it is around 45-50 minutes long. I think it is 24 laps of Suzuka. And you must use 1 set of medium tyres and 1 set of hard tyres minimum. You must use 1 of each. The top 3 racers in the championship who are leading the championship are only allowed to use 1 set of mediums. So they will probably use 2 sets of hard, 1 set of mediums. So myself and the rest of the field will probably go with the 2 mediums, 1 hard strat. Obviously we've got to think about fuel as well. It is on ×5 fuel, but we will go over that and the strategies that I picked out and implemented in that race when I do the video on that feature race. So back to this one, going through 130R again, sticking in the slipstream of the ERT driver into 1st gear. I found that I was doing this last section really well. You can take a lot off the 2nd apex in that chicane, and that is where all the fast guys get the run onto the start finish straight. They really gamble with how much you can take off of that apex. But we are now on the penultimate lap, and I've said it before, we struggle with our late race consistency. As we come around here, we do just dip 2 toes onto the Astro there, getting away with murder. Usually that stuff just freaking sucks you dry and you send yourself into the Shadow Realm, but not this time. Not this time, Shadow Realm. As we come through these very technical section again, trying to keep it as close to the apexes as possible. Got to be really patient on that corner, and again, really patient switch up to 4th gear just to get the car turned in a little bit more traction so we don't run wide into the gravel. We do have a nice bumper to the car behind us. Sissy, the American behind us, actually one of the livery creators for Jev Team Racing, so shout out to Sissy. As another little mistake coming out of that right-hander, just the gap is opening from us to the car in front. They've all got the suck. We are over 7/10, so just in the suck stream, but it's not enough. It's not going to pull us along. They're going to just drag away, so we've got to have a really, really good spoon curve here to have any chance of being in the slipstream. Coming up, brake in at the right point, going down to 2nd gear, into 3rd, back down to 2nd. I think you should be taking this in 3rd if you have the confidence. Running just onto the good Astro there, the darker green stuff just beyond the light green Astro. That is the problematic stuff. But we didn't make any ground on the car in front, so just pulling away slightly as we go into 130R there. Nice. Oh, Hubie just goes wide again. A little bit of a wiggle, so we are closer to him, but there's no point in me trying to fight and trying to pass him. 1, because we are both in Lexus, and 2, I don't want to embarrass myself by pushing someone that's really, really fast on the last lap and maybe creating an incident where there doesn't need to be. So we're just going to sit behind, see if we can get through a nice final lap. We've driven really, really well, kept up with some really, really fast players, but we've gone in too hot, and we've got on the green Astro there, and we've said how dangerous that green Astro is, and we spin around, and that is that. Luckily, we have that really, really good gap to Sissy behind us, but gosh, really, really disappointing. As you know, we said about the late game, the late race consistency, and that is that. Coming into a final chicane as well, not even looking at the braking markers, and we're off again. Once again, very, very lucky to have that bumper between us and Sissy behind. So just going to bring it home. A little bit disappointing, but overall, actually, we drove really, really well. So I'm actually really happy. I thought I was going to come in and just todd around at the back, but no, we were in the pro class and we didn't embarrass ourselves. Maybe got a couple of points for speedy tyres as well. So that is a 5th. And that means that with a reverse grid, this is how the grid lines up for the feature race, which will be the next video. So there we are, sitting in 11th. You'll have to check back to see how we do in that one. So that is going to be it for this one. Thank you for watching, liking and subscribing. Thank you again to the Jev Pit crew, the members of the channel, and we will see you in the next one.